Okay, today we're going to learn how to rewrite equations from standard form to slope-intercept form. This is what standard form looks like, and this is what slope-intercept form looks like. We need to get this standard form into this form so that we can graph the line. So today we're going to just focus specifically on how to change from standard form to slope-intercept form. So I'm going to review a little bit with you first. And if we were to have had an equation that looks like this, and we needed to solve for y, we would follow our standard procedures of, I've got to get rid of the 4 on the left-hand side, so I would subtract 4 from each side, remembering that that cancels out. Don't forget that you have to take that sign with you. So I have a negative 2y is now equal to 8. I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient, and then I would have gotten y is equal to negative 4. So when we change from standard form to slope-intercept form, we're going to do basically the same thing, only this time we're going to be moving terms, a whole term, including the x, because we need to get that y by itself so that it will take the form of y equals mx plus b. So let's start with the equation that we're given here. 4x minus 2y is equal to 12. Okay, so our first step, we need to isolate the y. So I'm going to draw a box around that because that's where I'm going. In order to do this, I'm going to need to subtract 4x from both sides. Now, when I do that, this leaves me with 0 there, a negative 2y here, and we can't combine those because one has an x and one doesn't. So this becomes negative 4x plus 12. That's a positive 12. That's a negative 4x. So we're getting closer to what we need. Now we need to look at that and try to get the y by itself. So when I do that, we know from over here that we had to divide everything by the coefficient of y. So we're going to do the same thing here, only we need to divide each term by negative 2. So when we do that, we would get negative 2 divided by negative 2, of course, is just a positive y. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 would give me a positive 2x. And that positive 12, because I've got to take that sign with me, divided by negative 2 is going to give me a negative 6. Now I'm in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more examples for you here, and then I'm going to let you be off on your way. So our next example is x plus y is equal to negative 15. So now this one's a little bit easier because we don't have any coefficients to work with here. So I simply need to isolate this y. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. That leaves me with 0x over here. And now I have y is equal to, I have a negative x minus 15. And that's in y equals mx plus b form. Our last example is 2y plus 8x is equal to 1. Now this one looks a little bit different than the one we were given up here because the x was first and the y was second. It doesn't matter, we're still going to solve it in the same manner. So we have 2x plus, or 2y plus 8x is equal to 1. Remember that I need to isolate the y and get it by itself. That means that I need to subtract 8x from both sides. So that leaves me with, that goes away, it cancels out. I would have a positive 2y is equal to negative 8x plus 1, because that's a positive 1. Then I have to make sure that I divide each term by the coefficient of y. That cancels out. I'm left with y is equal to negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4x. And then I have 1 divided by 2. I can't simplify that, so that's going to be 1/2. So my answer would be negative 4x plus 1/2. As you're working through your problems today, make sure that you take your time. You show each step as I've shown here. I must see each step exactly the way we've shown here. Okay, have a